Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. As it turns out, XRP and the XRP ledger can be used for everything. Now, I don't literally mean everything. It's not like XRP is gonna fold your laundry or, mow the lawn or make you tacos on a Tuesday, but in the world of blockchain where you've got all sorts of Maximus of various coins, I always think of Bitcoin Maximus first, aren't they just adorable? But pretending like a crypto is not a real crypto if it was not distributed through mining, which is proof of work. If it wasn't that, it's not even a real crypto. So you got the Bitcoin Maximus arguing about that silly nonsense. People that are looking for real solutions via blockchain and cryptocurrencies are actually looking to XRP and the XRP ledger because who doth thunk it? As it turns out, having low transaction costs, very fast transaction times, and almost zero energy consumption for transactions, as it turns out, that's important if you want to utilize blockchain and cryptocurrency in the real world. And so I have 3 examples in this latest Moon Lambo Hot Jam about how XRP and the XRP ledger is being adopted, frankly, in interesting ways. And I do want to be clear at the outset, I don't have a financial background of any kind. I'm not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who makes YouTube videos as a fun hobby. Before I forget this too, actually, one thing I'm not really going to delve into terribly in depth in this video is this idea of usability of XRP for smart contracts. Now, you may already be aware, but in case you're not, let me drop some science on you. When XRP was created, in terms of what you want to have built into the blockchain itself, there are trade-offs for a number of reasons. And smart contract capability was not built into the XRP ledger. I've talked about on the channel as to why that was the case. David Schwartz, who's one of the creators of the XRP ledger, has been very vocal about and public about the reasons as to why. They're trade-offs. And so even there, though, what's interesting is you have, for instance, Flare Network, which is going to be finally hopefully within the coming weeks or so, issuing their Spark token, and so that will actually add functionality to XRP, which by default it didn't have. So even there, as it turns out, XRP's blazing fast speed can be taken advantage of for smart contracts. But I'm not going to focus on that for this video. Let's take a look at this new article from Crypto Newsflash. It's titled, "Ripple is being considered for trade finance by larger organizations, IFA." And so this specifically, like XRP itself, the cryptocurrency XRP, not just the ledger, but actually XRP, can be beneficial for trade finance. So let me explain this. And this actually, the article stemmed from something from an XRP community member named Wrath of Conman. So anyway, they write, the Ripple transaction protocol is being studied by larger organizations for trade finance according to the International Federation of Accountants. And I already have to stop right there because this isn't addressed within the article, but they wrote the Ripple transaction protocol. Here's the deal, my friends. I can't believe this is still a thing in 2021. So when you're talking about the XRP blockchain, we're talking about what is known as the XRP ledger. On the XRP ledger lives something separate. There's a cryptocurrency called XRP. The XRP ledger and XRP, 2 different things, right? So XRP lives on the XRP ledger. It's the native asset of the blockchain. All right, and then there's RippleNet. Now, RippleNet is proprietary software that Ripple, the company, has created. They've also, so it's a messaging platform for banks, remittance companies, so on and so forth. And then you have on-demand liquidity, which utilizes XRP as a bridge currency. These are different things. Now, when you're talking about the Ripple protocol or the Ripple transaction protocol, that is antiquated, to say the least. Like, people do not call any of the things that I just defined for you. Nobody uses this term. And so, not literally, almost nobody uses it. Apparently it's used here because these people are not as in the know as I wish they were. Because unfortunately, the meaning of terms has changed over time. And so people say Ripple protocol sometimes when they're talking about RippleNet. Sometimes they say Ripple protocol when they're talking about the XRP ledger. And so you never know for sure what the hell people are talking about when they use this language, which is antiquated. And I say let just throw it in the dumpster. We don't need this language anymore. Just use RippleNet's on-demand liquidity, XRP Ledger, and XRP, and we know what we're talking about. And so the way it was described, I'm going to go ahead and take a stab at it and assume that they're talking about the XRP Ledger here. And functionally, obviously, if you're talking about trade finance, which I'll get into, the utilization of XRP can be quite beneficial here. So anyway, the piece continued, though. This development came to light after a Twitter user identified as Wrath of Kahneman shared a presentation titled Enabling Purpose-Driven Organizations. And so you can see he's highlighted this portion right here. From that title, and it reads as follows. Exploration of additional innovative solutions not yet widely adopted in supply chains such as blockchain and related tools, including Ripple Transaction Protocol, are being explored by a few larger organizations to improve supply chain management through a greater automation, transparency, and visibility. And so when we're talking about trade finance, admittedly, this is not a term that I think the average person could even define. It's like I'm aware of it. I had to do a quick refresher myself before recording the video. It's like, wait, how is this technically defined? If it's not in your daily life, you might be like, yeah, whatever. Or you may have never heard of it, which I guess is probably the case for many of you listening, and that would be normal. But consider it like this, and this is important. You have to understand this if you're going to understand how XRP could functionally be used. And to me, XRP functionally being used here is of the utmost importance if you care about the long-term viability of XRP, because eventually in the future, utility will sufficiently matter. And so I happen to be a business owner. I have been for over 11 years now, and I have a number of customers, over 1,500 of them, business customers, and the vast majority of them want me to send them a bill. So I've offered them net 30 payment terms. That would be pretty standard for these instances, simply meaning that you get the products that I'm offering, and mind you, I still have to pay my vendors, of course, but they get to pay me in 30 days if they choose to pay me on time. That's pretty much welcome to the world of a business owner. But anyway, so in the world of global trade, though, think about this: if there are vendors that want to do business and they're in completely different companies, it's establishing relationships, especially if there's a language barrier, it can be rather difficult thing to do. So if you're a business that wants to buy from a vendor, but you want them to give it to you, with net terms, meaning, hey, we're good for it, just send us a bill. Well, if you don't have a relationship and you're in a different country, that can be tough. And so there are trade finance companies which effectively kind of bridge that gap. And so, they'll be the ones that would take on the risk of assuming that they're actually going to ultimately get paid by the person that, or the company in this case, that would be making the purchase. But the interesting thing here, I think, is that when you're talking about having the flow of money in between, you're talking about global finance. You're talking about a ton of different fiat currencies that can be used for payment, and they don't just magically convert amongst each other. This is why when you're talking about on-demand liquidity, utilization of XRP as a bridge currency, it's just genius, the system that Ripple has come up with here, because this is the only solution that humans have come up with to fix the train wreck that is the world of global payments and settlement, and it does require a decentralized cryptocurrency that has an open market price. And so rather than utilizing the SWIFT system, which has been used for the last 50 some odd years, finally you can actually have settlement and you can completely bypass the SWIFT system where there are sufficient liquidity in corridors where it's open and available, which is what Ripple's building out. That is RippleNet, with on-demand liquidity being a huge piece of that, utilizing XRP as a bridge currency. And so when you're talking about trade finance specifically, if you're buying from a company that their unit of account is in a completely different currency, you got a problem there. You have to have somebody in between that's converting from one fiat currency to another, and XRP specifically can be used for this. And there seems to be a broad recognition that this is exactly where things need to head. And this is mind you, XRP is the only cryptocurrency that is being positioned for such a use case. And it's not just the technical attributes that I cited, but real-world adoption matters, because without liquidity, it doesn't matter how technically fast your software is, your blockchain technology. It does not matter if it's not adopted the world over. And so XRP, having been out in the wild for 8.5 years, that actually functionally matters. That head start, it matters a lot right here. And so it is interesting to see that this is still being pursued, because most people, when they're talking about adoption of XRP, they're not talking about trade finance. I rarely see it come up, but it has before, as is cited in this article. Take a look at this. EuroXM Bank, Ripple causing a revolution in trade finance. So EuroXM Bank is a Ripple customer that does utilize on-demand liquidity, which means they are using XRP as a bridge currency. So Graham Bright, head of compliance and operations at EuroXM Bank, in an interview, highlighted the importance of Ripple in the trade finance revolution, explaining why larger organizations are exploring it. Graham explained that EuroXM Bank, for instance, has its solution based on its membership in the Ripple ecosystem. With the on-demand capabilities of RippleNet, clients can switch in and out of currencies with XRP as the underlying digital asset. Well, how about that? Unlike with the traditional providers of cross-currency payment mechanisms, reliance on traditional correspondent bank relationships is no longer an issue with RippleNet. Now, according to him, they are now able to operate outside the SWIFT network, and some major banks are joining them. Thanks to Ripple and blockchain, Graham stated that he expects a revolution in trade finance within a few years. And here's a quote. The use of blockchain in identifying counterparties, facilitating payments, and exchange of documents is a good example. And so this is a perfect use case for XRP because these transactions already happen, but they're settling through the legacy financial system, and you don't have to do that in corridors where XRP is available as an option. So just continue on. Again, there are zero other cryptocurrencies on the planet being positioned for this, and so you just got to ask yourself, does utility matter? And you can always worry about competitors coming in, this or that. Well, I'll tell you what, if there's another coin that gets positioned for this use case, I'll get super interested. I won't even be mad about it. I'll probably just buy a bunch of it. I mean, I'd need details, but if it looks good, I'll be like, okay. I mean, if we're actually getting adoption for this use case, fine. There's something that's actually giving XRP a run for its money, fine. But today there isn't. And so it's like, are humans going to choose to benefit from this technology that now exists? Or are we going to say, oh no, that's really useful, but let's just not ever do that and keep things exactly the same way that they've been done for the last 50 years? I don't think so. So you got to decide for yourself to what degree you think utility functionally matters here. But this is not the only way in which the XRP ledger is functionally useful. How about this from Yahoo Finance? This article is titled, Ripple adds NFT support on XRP ledger to minimize gas fees. Well, how about that? And this just goes back to, again, people, stupid maximalists all over the world arguing about what they believe is a quote-unquote real cryptocurrency. And one of the primary factors that they consider is how it's distributed. Well, I'll tell you what. Once all XRP is out in the wild, even beyond Ripple's hands, and once all Bitcoin has been mined, it's not going to matter at all how it got there. So shut up. It doesn't, seriously, it functionally does not matter. Just grow up. But what really matters is what you're seeing here. Like the reason that all these businesses are talking about and adopting XRP for various use cases is because it's useful. It's fast. You don't have all of the drawbacks that are associated with mining, proof of work. So anyway, piece begins. Ripple announced today its next step towards reducing gas fees and minting costs for non-fungible tokens on the XRP ledger. Now, for the purposes of this, and I know there are a lot of new people to the channel in crypto, I'm going to have to assume that you know what an NFT is, non-fungible token. If not, the good news is if you don't, you do have the sum of all human knowledge at your fingertips. Just type it into your smartphone or your computer or your tablet, whatever you're using, and you can find out all about it, right? But this video would go too long if I branched out in too many directions here. Anyway, so since the beginning of 2021, some of the biggest stories in crypto have come from the NFT world. In an official statement from Ripple released this morning, the project announced its intention to combat high gas fees for trading and mint fees for non-fungible tokens. Despite the meteoric rise of NFT culture, interest has dwindled a bit lately as users are learning how difficult the transfer process for taking ownership is. And so look, Ripple's stepping in here. Announced its plans and aim directly at minimizing these fees by integrating NFT marketplaces on its XRP ledger. The assimilation to XRP will give both buyers and sellers a more cost-effective and overall pleasant experience when operating in the NFT space. Another advantage of the planned integration is the green energy savings the XRP ledger is set to provide over proof-of-work blockchains that mint NFTs. And the statement claims the following. Because the XRP ledger uses a novel consensus process for validating transactions, it consumes negligible amounts of energy and is 120,000x more efficient than proof-of-work networks. Building on the XRP ledger provides developers a unique opportunity to run more sustainable NFT apps and marketplaces while eliminating a heavy burden for the planet. And so there you go. Look, I think that NFTs are never going to go away. I can see the actual value in NFTs. As far as what platforms are going to, like if you could fast forward decades from now, what are actually being used, what's actually been adopted, don't know for sure, but there are clear drawbacks. And I've mentioned on the channel before, like some of these platforms, there's some crazy, just enormous purchases being made for various NFTs. And that would be fine if these NFTs were actually, if you could move them from one platform to the next, but the interoperability doesn't so much work. And so what if you purchase for a high price today an NFT, and then the platform's no longer supported in the future? To me, that sounds kind of scary. So I don't know exactly what all this is going to look like. I think that it's just part of the messiness of figuring out how to properly adopt a new technology like this. That's the reason there are over 8,000 cryptocurrencies on the planet, when we sure as hell know you don't need 8,000 new forms of money to solve every business problem on the planet. Of course not. But this is just, again, part of the messiness of figuring all that out. And then there's this. You guys familiar with Sologenic? It's an awesome. I hope this is another thing where I hope this pans out, because it would be good for the long-term viability of the XRP ledger itself and XRP specifically. So I'm going to read you a tweet from Bob Ross, who is the CEO running all of this at Sologenic, and it's Coinfield. That's the right name, right? Yeah, there you go. Coinfield, the exchange, is the one that created Sologenic. I'll explain in a moment in case you don't know what it is. But before I read this tweet, there was a term I was not familiar with, MIFID. I was like, what the hell is MIFID? So I looked it up first, and there's a good reason I don't know this. It has nothing, this would never be talked about in the United States, which is where I live. But here you go. It is Markets in Financial Instruments Directive, MIFID. The Markets in Financial Instruments Directive is a European regulation that increases the transparency across the European Union's financial markets and standardizes the regulatory disclosures required for firms operating in the European Union. So there you go. It's just another level of bureaucracy. Okay, fine. We needed to know that to understand what the hell he's talking about, though. And so anyway, Bob Ross wrote the following. We've just submitted another application for MIFID license to the Financial Supervisory Authority in EU. Now, in parallel, we're exploring some opportunities to offer Sologenic's tokenized assets in the United States. And then he wrote in parentheses here, work hard in silence, not parentheses, quotes, work hard in silence, let your success be the noise. So I don't know if that's something that he made up or it's from somebody, but I like it. I think I do like it. Work hard in silence, let your success be the noise. And so what they're doing here is they've built a platform, and it's launched, it's ready. We'll see to what degree it gets adopted, but they've launched a platform called Sologenic, built on top of the XRP ledger. And the XRP ledger actually has, by default, from day one, it actually had built into it a decentralized exchange. And so since there was a decentralized exchange built in, you can actually issue assets, brand new assets, or assets representing existing assets like gold if you want, or whatever. And that's actually been done before, by the way. But you can issue new assets on the XRP ledger, which has always been interesting here. And so the XRP ledger, given its low transaction cost, blazing fast speeds, and the fact that you can create assets on the XRP ledger, made it a perfect candidate for this business idea. Sologenic is basically tokenizing everything. So think about this, like every stock that's traded on exchanges, whether it's on the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, whatever, pick your exchange, there's all sorts of exchanges the world over. Their goal effectively is to have everything traded on the XRP ledger. To tokenize it, can be done 24/7, 365, blazing fast speed. All these efficiencies can get picked up, and it would benefit XRP specifically. My understanding is, and somebody just correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is you have to basically have a small amount of XRP in reserve, kind of like, you have that 20 XRP reserve every time you set up your own new XRP wallet. I believe, and again, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just thinking off the top of my head now, that it may be like a 5 XR10 or 5 XRP. I'm pretty sure it's just setting up a trust line. I believe that's what it is. If I'm actually misspeaking, let me know. I don't pretend to know everything. I know a fair bit because I've been in the world of XRP and crypto for 3.5 years, but I don't pretend to know everything. So just let me know if I'm a little off or something. But I believe that's the case here. Either way, the cool thing is this would result in the further adoption of XRP Ledger and XRP itself. And so you might think that stuff like this actually matters if it actually takes hold, which is an unknown, but try all sorts of stuff. This is the testing phase, right? Where this asset class has been around a little over a decade, that's it. But if this happens, as more and more people jump into diversify into this asset class, don't you think that if a cryptocurrency, XRP specifically, is required for the usage of a number of applications that you might think, oh, well, if businesses and people need it to do what they're doing, and if it just went away, they couldn't do those things, might it have long-term viability? And if people think the answer is yes, might they put more money into it, and increasing the store of value aspect of XRP itself and investing in XRP? Because to me, that is utility. I think the answer is yes. And so we'll just have to let time pass and see what this all looks like. But yes, I think that's what it's going to look like. And so there you go. XRP, the best thing since sliced bread. It is amazing, isn't it? While most cryptocurrencies are just like science experiments, effectively, here is XRP and the XRP ledger functionally being adopted in so many ways. I just don't think it's going away. I know that it's not sufficiently appreciated in the market today. I know that XRP price moves in tandem with the rest of the market, and it's not sufficiently based on utility, but it's not going to stay like that. People are going to figure all this stuff out, and as more time passes, it'll become increasingly crystal clear which cryptocurrencies are really gaining staying power. But I'll go ahead and wrap up there. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because if anything I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.